You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com.
Join us now for the expert source for inside information on the options markets. It's time for Options Insider Radio with your host, Mark Longo.
All right, everybody. That old school music, man, that is old school. That dates back all the way to the earliest days of the network when it was all about the interviews here on the network. Of course, we have since migrated a lot of that content into other shows. So we'll do crypto interviews on the Crypto Hot Seat and vol interviews on Volatility Views and all sorts of other shows having relevant interviews for those products and that subject matter. But every once in a while, we get to trot out the old Options Insider Radio. We did that a bit at the OIC conference last week, so stay tuned for that. The pro folks are already hearing that on the pro feed. The rest of you will be hearing that soon on the on-demand side as we welcome on guests from throughout the world of options and derivatives and proceed to pick their brains for the benefit of you, the listener. Today, an extra special day because, of course, we had our pro Q&A session 100 earlier today. So the party has been continuing. We made that live and open to everybody. We had Options Bootcamp immediately following that with Mr. Passarelli tackling more of your options questions. Going to finish up today's partay with a little bit of a live interview session with a guest we haven't chatted with in some time, our old friend, Mr. John Smollen, the Executive Vice President and Head of Exchange Traded Products and Strategic Relations. Try saying that 5 times fast. Over there at Miax. John, welcome back to the old network, sir.
Hello, Mark. How are you? Glad to be back. Exciting. Working on that title. But
every time I chat with you, your title has expanded. You must have an unfolding business card now.
I do. It just kind of folds right out. So how are you doing?
I am good. I am good. Things are busy. Things are popping off over here. Things are pretty busy in your neck of the woods as well. So maybe let's start there. You and I haven't chatted on the network, at least, in quite some time. But you folks over there at Miax have been up to a few things since the last time we spoke with you on the network. So let's start there. Catch our listeners up. What are the hot new things? What are the big breaking developments over there at Miax that you've been working on since the last time we chatted, sir?
Well, I think the biggest 2 things that we've announced is that we filed to create a 4th exchange, and pending anything crazy, our goal is at some point next year to open a trading floor in Florida, in Miami. We've learned a lot, as most of us, coming out of the pandemic and COVID and what flow has done and where it's gone, and the need for taking what we do well, kind of this high-end automated, combining with a hybrid floor. We think there's an opportunity for us. Our customers have been asking for it and pushing us towards it, and then you kind of get into the political side of the opportunity, and the political side being the challenges that states like New York, New Jersey, Illinois are having, and how many of the traders in the world have been traditionally out of those states, we think that the Florida option might be a good thing for people that are looking for, a better economic model statewide. So that's one big thing.
How crazy. Floor trading in an environment people actually want to be in, as opposed to some of the colder northern climes, sir. How crazy of you to suggest such a thing?
Well, I think the weather's important. We do. But, as you know, there's a lot of people in our business that are already in Florida. So it's not a reach for them. And then the other thing, you start talking about, in this environment, what does government need to do to run? They need to make money. And, and in our business, we're blessed to have wound up in a business where you have a chance to be highly successful, and you become someone that will be highly taxed. So there are options for people to go now. You can stay in New York. There's floors in New York and Philadelphia. You obviously have a San Francisco floor. You have a Chicago floor. Well, this is a different option with a different state model. And we think that's an advantage. So we're not afraid to try it.
You better be careful. You're going to get some retired market makers coming off the golf course down in Florida and signing up for a badge again. You're going to be an influx.
I'm always, our head of options is Shelley Brown, and I'm always trying to get him to even he says, hey, listen, if we still traded in ace and quarters, he'd be trading. So we can all dream,
yes. We all have our demarcation, the line that we crossed that drove us out of the space. But that's fascinating. People might say, wow, a new trading floor in 2023, or in your case, 2024 coming up next year. That sounds crazy. But then we look at what's been happening. You're right. Since the pandemic, obviously everything went electronic for a while. But then, of course, SIBO has since opened up a new floor, very bright, very cheerful, getting decent volume down there. Of course, even other ones like Box, you mentioned, Box is doing some surprise paper there. Amex floor is still going strong. So there still is clearly a need for a trading floor to execute certain types of paper in addition to all the other reasons you just laid out there. So, yeah, I guess everything old is new again, John. Trading floors are back, sir.
There's kind of, and you look at what's happened out of the electronic world. In the electronic world, back in the day when we started in 2020, in 2000, everyone had the ability to put a quote into the market, and then as the level of expertise required to do that well got higher and higher, we saw less people doing it. We've gotten to a point now. I mean, your listeners are smart. On any given day, the liquidity in the market is kind of anywhere from 2 to 5 firms. And what's the solution if we get to 2 or 1? So having kind of an electronic version of an old pit with potentially, favorable for brokers, for RFQing, I think there's another version of electronic trading that's going to occur. And we just think that if it does occur, having it occur at Miax is a good spot. So we're ready for that. And you're right. I was recently in Chicago. The SIBO was very kind to let me go to see the floor. Obviously, my roots are there, and it's a beautiful floor, and it's a wonderful place to trade. And I expect them to have success there. So we're looking and seeing, and we think that the product we're going to put out is going to be attractive to somebody. So we're ready to go.
I know, John. For my taste, all these new trading floors far too bright and cheerful, far too attractive of places to go. To me, the trading floor needs to be dank and oppressive, and a place you have to go, but you don't want to. These new places, they're far too enticing. Everyone's going to want to go down there and trade. What's the fun of that?
We've got requests for Starbucks and everything, so we're going to keep it.
Yes, all that fun down there. Well, John, you mentioned also, in addition to the trading floor, you're also working on a 4th exchange. You guys just rolled out a 3rd exchange a little while ago. And I just got off a show, Options Bootcamp, that's aimed at more of the kind of basic audience, a lot of the new people who are coming to the world of options. And they have questions, as you might imagine. And a lot of them have been asking lately, what's the deal with options exchanges? Why are there so many exchanges? I think we're up to 17 now, somewhere in that realm. And they don't really understand. They have a hard time grasping why there are so many, let alone why an exchange group like Miax would need more than one. So, for our basic listeners out there who maybe are having a hard time coming to grips with this, why does Miax need for exchanges, and what value are they providing to those people, at the basic newcomers?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. It has to do. Obviously, we take our direction from our regulator, and first and foremost, what they establish the rules of engagement and play. We follow it to the letter of the law. That's what a regulated exchange does, and it has to do with the allocation models and the economic models, the make-take model, the take-make, the traditional market maker, the make-take with the customer priority. They're all different market models and allocation models and commercial models. Each one of those has to have its own platform to exist, and there are different groups in the business that obviously are attracted to the make-take. There are others that are the traditional market maker with directed order flow, and then you have the model that we're going into is the take make, which is where if you cross the spread and you take the offer that you're paying to find liquidity. So it's in the perfect world. I know that there's some guys in our business that have been very vocal about why not just build one exchange and let the customers choose the allocation that they want to trade on. And, on paper, it makes sense. But the regulator has never moved to there. And so that's why every time we want to introduce a different economic model, we have to get a new medallion.
It all comes back to regulators at the end of the day, John. Well, you mentioned you've been in this business for a bit. We just came off a pretty big milestone. Ever since the start of the pandemic, we've seen volume explode. We've seen listeners to networks like this explode. And everyone's been wondering over that time, can we get there? Can we get to a billion contracts in a month? That sounded like a ridiculous number just a few years ago, but we hit it. In fact, exceeded it back in March with 1.1 billion contracts. John, you've been on the exchange side for a while. Before that, you were on the market maker side. Did you ever, in your wildest imagination in those early years, or even maybe now in the later years, think we'd get to north of a billion contracts in a single month this quickly, sir?
No, that number is just unbelievable. Obviously, yes, going back several decades to when I did start, I remember when, a 2 million contract day was a big day for the industry, but that was literally, that was the equivalent of there was no electronification. We thought it was highly electronified, through the 90s. And as it turns out, there was no electronification. Now you've got new products. Mark, if you remember back in the day, it was very rare. If you had a stock that was $100 stock or 3 decimals, that was like a special stock. People were attracted to those. Now you got a bunch of them. You have stocks that got into the 1,000, and there's high flyers, and there's people that are using options in different ways, and you have these same day expiration. You have multiple expirations in a week. You have back to back to back. When I started, expirations were every 3 months, and the busiest week was obviously the expiration week. So and we've done this in a way that there's been at no point, and this is just me, and I'm an old timer. I don't think our industry's we've taken a body blow every now and then, but there's no black eye. What we do at the exchange side and the customers do, and OCC and the retail and everything we've created, we've done a good job as an industry. And I think you see that in the volume that grows because of the fact that people trust what we do.
Mentioned new products there, John. We can't get out of options without talking about the hottest thing. You were just down at OIC. I was just down at OIC. No one could stop talking about 0 day. It's the phenomenon du jour out there in the options market. Obviously, products like SPX and others putting up over 1 million contracts a day of these mostly 0 day contracts out there. So it's just crazy the kind of volume we're seeing out there. I don't think I had a chance to chat with you about this, though. What are your thoughts on this whole 0-day phenomena? Are you a fan? Are you not a fan? And where do you think we're heading? Where is the logical endpoint to this? Are we going to be talking about sub-hour, maybe even 10-minute contracts a year from now, John?
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think the natural growth is you'll probably have the people that want to see this continue, and I don't have an opinion on it because it's what we, obviously the SPX is the biggest one right now, but I would expect it at some point people are going to start talking about them. Do we need them in equities? Should we put them in the top 50, top 100? I don't know. I as a trader and as someone that enjoys trading previously, I understand the benefit and the allure of having units on expiration day and with the stock that's moving around. Some of the best trading I was ever exposed to was when you come in and a stock moves $10 on expiration and you have a number of out of the money puts and calls that you just happen to own. So essentially that's what same day options are stocks $15 and you own 200 of the 20s and you wake up and it's 25. It's like, that's heaven, so I get why people like them, and I don't see anything backing off. You just worry about who's providing liquidity, and then the clearing firms, they have a tough job, and they're going to have to figure out how they want to regulate it. But I just pray that there's again, I like to quote people, and the unrealized consequences of a product haven't been shown yet. I hope it doesn't, but that's what I'm a little worried about. If someone gets on the wrong side of one of these things, but right now there's no fighting the trend. So they're positive. They're very popular, and I don't see them going backwards from here.
Call them gamma bombs around here for a reason, John. So luckily none of them have exploded yet, but they are ticking.
Gamma bombs. I like gamma bombs. That's great.
TM, Gamma Bombs TM, coming to a T-shirt near you. Well, John, one of the reasons I wanted to have you on, I like talking 0-day and options volume and all that cool stuff, but you guys have been making some moves in some other markets as well. In particular, one we pay a lot of attention to here on the network. Of course, we have our crypto rundown program. We had the folks from LedgerX on that show multiple times during multiple incarnations of that exchange. We always thought it was interesting. It was one of the only real regulated U.S. crypto derivatives exchanges here in the U.S. So clearly for a lot of our audience, it was a platform of interest. It got caught up, unfortunately, in all of that FTX debacle. So that was a big question mark for us. What was the future of that platform that a lot of people were interested in? And fast forward to a few weeks ago, you guys scooped it up out of the wreckage of FTX. It is now part of the ever-expanding Miax empire. So I'll let our listeners know, why did you guys decide to do that, and what are your plans for LedgerX going forward?
Well, we're still it's not closed yet, Mark. There's yes, what you've seen in the paper. We were active in the bankruptcy proceedings, as were a lot of people. A lot of people took a long look at it, and we submitted, and the court chose us. We're still in a closing period here before it's official. So I think more will come out, probably in the next 5 to 7 days. But again, it's you look at what we've done as an exchange. The founders here, Tom Gallagher and the crew here had a vision that regulation's good. We like to be regulated. We like to have these trading medallions. So when we have the opportunity to expand into regulated markets, and which LedgerX clearly is, and the opportunity occurs, opens up, we're aggressive. We bought the Minneapolis Grain Exchange. Same thing. We started a cash exchange. We own the Bermuda Stock Exchange. We have investments in Abu Dhabi. So we like regulated markets, and obviously we were comfortable around LedgerX. We were one of the first people to kind of get involved with it, and what happened, and we can't control that, and we just saw it as an opportunity for us to get in the space. And I think next week or two you'll see more coming out, but I think in the end, I think it will be good for the market, and it will be good for the clients of LedgerX that we're gonna do what we do.
It does seem like there was a big inflection point around that FTX meltdown. A lot of people in the crypto space, maybe who were a little bit reticent about regulation and central clearing and things like that, starting to come across to the dark side. Obviously, there's still the hardcores, the DeFi folks who think that is the solution to that problem, and there certainly are quite a few of them as well. But certainly others in that camp that say, a cleared, regulated entity is the way to go. So it sounds like maybe once we have more news on this front, John, there will be more people beating a path towards LedgerX than perhaps in the past, sir.
I hope so. I hope that we choose a way that's obviously good for the markets, good for the clients, and hopefully at the end of the day, what we've done and how we've done it is good for the people that are around Miax. So that's how we look at things. Is it good for the market? Is it good for the clients? And after we kind of decide that, we look at say, okay, how can we move the needle for us as a company? So we like where we are, and I think when we start releasing what our plan is and what we're going to do, I think people are going to be they're going to be happy.
Well, I for one will be paying attention. I'm sure a lot of our listeners will as well. We've been watching what's going on with LedgerX, saddened to see what happened to it, but it is an interesting platform. A lot of things, as you mentioned, that can be done with it. It was primarily a covered call platform back in the day, so broadening that appeal to other types of strategies and users and adding little things they were missing like auto exercise, all sorts of cool things that can be done. So we'll stay tuned for the announcement when all that is settled up in a couple of weeks. But we can't get out of here, John, without talking about our old friend, the product we used to talk about weekly here on the network, and one we still keep a keen eye on every week in the vol space. Of course, I'm talking about spikes. Mr. John, a lot going on in that neck of the woods as well. So catch our listeners up. What's the latest in all things spikes since the last time we chatted, sir?
The spikes team here is out working hard. It's a product that we committed to, and we expected to. We didn't think this was going to be easy, but we're making progress. We have more users coming on board. It's a different animal, the future side of the world. It operates differently. You need access into the market. You need the FCMs to like it. There's a lot of things that you need to kind of happen, and we've been kind of working through those. Each one of those, every time it pops up, if there's another kind of stone in the road, we're negotiating around it. But again, I think you're going to see some things in the next month or two that the team has put in place here that is going to, make it so that we have a natural possible retail firm that might be a buyer or seller. As you know, in the markets, market makers hate to trade with market makers. And it takes a while to get someone involved or someone to take a chance on you. And then, on the other side too, Mark, I said, we've been talking about here, the volatility space has been, I think, back to the same day options that we just spoke about. I think a lot of the users that might have been trading, spikes, options or spikes futures or VIX if not spikes, I think a lot of the vol players have kind of moved into that for now. So you're still coming out of this vol Armageddon of you look at what happens at a bank when something blows up, and you see what happened in March and April of 20, where there was that catastrophic event and there was a lot of money lost. Banks get out, new teams come in, they get themselves set up, they decide they want to trade vol. So it takes some time. So, we're well within the timeline we've set for ourselves, but, we're we're turning stones over and looking at opportunity, and we've got some stuff coming out in a month that I think will be helpful to the product. So we wish we were more along, but we're not that disappointed. So we're good. We're good with where we are.
Well, John, you got 3, soon to be 4 options exchanges on the horizon, including a trading floor on the horizon, which is very interesting. You got an equity exchange there in the bundle, a futures exchange we were just talking about with the, MGX and spikes and all that fun. Even now, LedgerX, soon to be a crypto exchange in the fold. So you got a lot of irons in the fire over there. But before we roll out of here, if you want to leave our audience with any hints, any teases of what to look forward to, maybe a new addition, a new market you're breaking into over there at Miax. Now is the time, sir. The floor is yours.
No, I appreciate it. I think, as a company, we know what we're capable of. We are an outstanding top of the line exchange technology company. We're always looking at how to take advantage of the teams we have here and what our chief technology officer, Doug Schaefer's built here. So we have an amazing team. So we're always looking to leverage that. We look at business opportunities that come in, and we look and say, okay, how do we, what's our value added here? How are we going to do this? Is there anything we're going to do? Like, when we look at, can we reduce costs? Can we, the determinism and an execution, can we do something there? So we think that the new LedgerX, we're going to add a lot of value. We think the new floor, we're going to add a lot of value. And then off those things, we have other products and other services we can do. You mentioned our equity model. Joe Bracco is running our equities exchange. He's been up and running for less than 15 months, I think, and 17 months, and we're over 2% market share. Which is the kind of the home run number that you want to get to. So we've got a lot going on, and it may not be super glamorous, but you know what? We're doing our job. People are responding to it, and you're seeing it in the support we're getting in the market.
Pretty glamorous to us here, John, but unfortunately, sometimes you got to do the plumbing as well, right? It can't all just be the headline making stuff. Someone's got to make sure the pipes flow.
That's you just mentioned something. So the Minneapolis Grain Exchange, we bought it. It was a sleepy exchange, but when we got in there, we committed, and we're about to launch it. We're about to launch a huge mid-back office upgrade into Minneapolis. And you're like, oh, well, that doesn't do anything for me. Well, for your traders out there, the automation for your FCM or your clearing agent is now makes their business safer. The safer their business is, the better it is for you. And that's like an unexpected positive that flows through the markets. But, we also, one of the things we think we've done for the market that again, you'd like to get a pat on the back, but you're not, is we think as a technology company, us coming in when we did what we did and how we've done it, everyone else either had to raise their game to catch up with this. And kudos to our competitors, they did. Gets back to your first question. How do we do 1 billion contracts? So a company like Miax comes along 10 years ago. We raised the bar. 10 years ago, I don't think we could have done 1 billion. But with the quality of the platforms out there now, which with us leading the charge, I think you see that's how we get to 1 billion. So it's a competitive business. People are moving with us. That's good. But if they don't, that's better for us. So, we've got a lot going on, but I think there's a lot of different things we do to make the markets better. But the electronification and how we do it, we think we'll eventually figure out, how we'll get rewarded for what we bring to the market, and we're excited about it.
There you go. A lot going on indeed. Check it out for yourselves. Miax Global, MIAX Global.com. optionsinsider.com is the place to go. Newly revamped website as well. So a lot of cool stuff lurking there. That's going to do it for us with the cool stuff on the network today. Hope you enjoyed this little taste of all the pro live fun, the pro Q&A, everything else that came at you here today on the network. Back again tomorrow with This Week in Futures Options, our friends over there at CME Group, as well as the Option Block with our friends over there at SIBO. Then back on Friday, Volatility Views with the folks over there at NASDAQ. And then, of course, for all you pro folks, back after that for a great Options Oddity session. Then back again next week with more great content, hopefully more Options Insider Radio. Stay safe out there, everybody.
You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions@theoptionsinsider.com.